like to call the meeting to order. It's 16:12 hours on May 5th, 2022, Cinco de Mayo Day. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes of the meeting? Prior minutes? Does anybody see anything they'd like to change?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. I'll second it.
Motion's been made, seconded by Deb. All in favor?
Aye,
Any nays?
and thank you to Jane and Leslie. She did the minutes on the recording, so I didn't have to. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Under today's agenda, review and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. We've done Old Airport Site Survey.
Oh, I didn't bring it. We did receive it. I have it from Tower and Associates.
Yeah.
So we have that on hand, on file now. I'll go grab it. Hold on. I can set the link. Do you want me to go get it?
Would
You wanna
everybody like
see
to
it?
see it real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit different than what it showed on the interactive maps, but
Slightly, yeah.
slightly.
Larger or smaller?
I think it was pretty much the same square
I think it
footage.
may have been
It
a
just
little bit
shifted.
larger than what I have to look at what it says.
Yeah, I'll get it up on the map.
The interactive map said what, 2.3 or something. I forget.
Yeah, and they're, I mean, they're just a guide. They're not the
Right.
permanent maps, so.
You guys see this? I want to look at it together.
So one thing that he pointed out in his letter is that this is actually obviously the state of New Hampshire's land that borders I-93 and not the town's land.
That would make sense.
So we have to get an easement over their land in order to put in an on-ramp.
Okay,
Mhm.
so does that make the parcel smaller then?
I don't know what, to be honest, because I wasn't involved in kind of the initial original
Because now it's
conversations.
2.14.
I don't know what you
Oh, you
expected
know what
it to
says
be.
online. A second.
What else did he point out?
You have 2 lots there.
And that yellow flag is for tell people that's that. Yeah, across from the second line in.
Oh. You mean this?
Yep.
Across from that,
maybe
maybe.
Right across
We,
from the
yeah,
line, sorry.
online, we have it as 3.6, however,
3.6, but that must include this.
well, this road used to come down here.
That's right.
So I think this is 3.6.
Yeah, because he did say we used to have it
Because
bisected,
It used to
right?
be there, so I bet this whole thing was the 3.6 maybe, or close to it. But now this one is obviously, let's see what that one's on here as. Online, that one's 2.4, what is it there?
2.2.
So I don't know.
Are we gonna have enough room?
Oh, sure.
Especially layout too.
What does that map say now? 2 point,
2.1 for the side next to the highway.
so it changed 7/10 or
Yeah, it was 2.4,
0.7.
now it's
Point
2.1.
3/4 of an acre.
Yeah.
That's a
No.
lot.
No,
No, 7/10.
well, your 10 would be.
An acre.
10/10 would be 1 acre.
2/10, it changed.
It's saying 2.4.
What was it before?
2 2.8.
No, it says 2.4 online.
Well,
Was I
mine,
looking at the
on
wrong
mine,
one?
I'm not looking at the interactive maps.
3.6. The old one, the one on the right is 2.4.
Eric, and then the one on the left border in the highway is 2.8.
Is that what it says now?
2.8 on the interactive maps.
The one that borders the highway,
It's
Yeah.
2.1,
it's 2.1.
That's
So
why I
it's-
said it drops.
7/10.
Yeah.
No, online it says 3.6, Ron. This is the lot, correct?
That lot right there.
That's the lot, okay.
45?
Wait a minute,
Lot
3.6.
Yeah, but you, don't look at that card.
That's-
These aren't accurate. Look at the interactive maps.
Or look at the, yeah, zoom in on, zoom in on 45.
Hang on.
Yeah, we noticed that we had an issue with the conversion between the CAI, the tax cards from there, and the tax maps. They're not reading the same. It's like they had a weird.
2.8 on here, okay. Gotcha, I'm looking at the text.
Yeah, the cards.
Sorry,
Well,
yeah.
when you click on it,
2.4.
highlight it, you can choose the scroll.
If I go, oh, yeah, assessment,
Scroll.
gotcha.
Now the vision.
Vision,
Vision should be accurate.
Yeah, it's almost like that extra field card is not necessary because it just.
It's not
adds-
populating
It's not
properly.
populating properly, right?
So what may end up happening, because it looks like we narrowed out.
Yeah, we lost.
That
So
corner.
if we get the on-ramp, it goes this way, building. We'll come in this way, drive through and exit. We could either go here for in town and up Kenk, or we hit the interstate. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna have more room this way now than we do this.
So
way.
you could even do it kind of like, use your property
Kitty
lines.
corner, like a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, use your lot.
The other good thing, I'd like to see the front doors facing south.
Well, then
Then you're gonna lose it. Yeah, you're gonna lose distance.
So that's interesting that the state this
Yeah, I
widened
don't
up,
get why they do that.
because it was more parallel before.
It says, first, there is a triangle of land that lies between the town's land and Interstate 93 that is owned by the state of New Hampshire. This was one of several parcels of land purchased by the state from the Roman Catholic Bishop of Manchester in 1961, when the state was acquiring land for the construction of 93.
Any way to get that land back?
Yeah, can we ask for the land back?
I mean, it was never ours to begin with. It was the churches. We'd
Can
have
we
to,
ask-
we can ask the
here?
state.
Can we ask the state, can we write a letter and ask the state if we can have it?
I mean,
the state is the same as the town, we're not gonna give anybody anything.
yeah.
We're
Yeah,
gonna buy
buy
it
it for a
back.
dollar.
Right.
How much of it is really buildable too?
I don't, yeah, I was gonna
Right.
say, why do we need it? We don't need it. If we get a right of way to put the on-ramp through there anyway, then
Is
it
this
just,
one,
it's
is
fine.
this one now bigger?
I
Because if we
don't know.
Yes, it is.
Because if we, yeah, but the news, okay, so another thought. Put the building here,
But then we lose access with
No,
that.
not if you go over here.
we'll come here.
Oh,
Continue
gotcha.
the road.
on, Because the further we can access on for a distance, for an on-ramp distance,
Because line of sight.
so the on-ramp, I think, ends over here somewhere when you're merging on. If we're further away, it's gonna be more palatable to the DOT, but give us enough space to hit that crossover
Gotcha.
to merge in properly.
My house is almost right in the middle of the two turnarounds.
And that's where the parking lot's going.
Hey, I'll sell it to you.
We're gonna put the burn building in the
How
area.
how bad do you want it? That's fine.
I don't know.
after bed.
Look, this is room in her driveway for the burn building,
I was
okay?
gonna sell it separate.
Just give her-
But you use it for helicopter pad.
And there's a fire hydrant dead center of Pollard Road at
Right.
the end of that.
Right here.
Yeah, relocate that.
There's
Well-
utility, there's a ton of utility under there.
So we'll just come over our property to the on-ramp.
See, coming under here, all of our water, sewer and everything else lines go under there because on the other side of that, That's where Pollard Road was.
Mhm.
So on the other side of that, we also, the town owns a little piece of land because all this manholes and
Yeah.
stuff there.
So we really wouldn't have to bother that, because this could be onto the property to the on-ramp.
Mhm. There you go. Yeah.
We'd have to see how the village actually come up with a little building,
Right.
you know,
Is-
30,000 square
is
foot
that
piece of
piece
cardboard
here-
and see how it works on
Is
there.
that not counting the houses that are down here now in the community center?
What
This
was
is-
this?
No, this is all, this is, there,
That's
that's,
all
that's an
This
easement.
is the community center parking lot.
Okay.
The not paved one, the one across from my son's house.
Okay,
The community center is over there.
But the only thing we deal with is this easement to access this house and the
Right.
one behind.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
the old, this is the convent, and then that new blue house back there,
Yeah.
and then Kelly's,
Kelly's, that's it.
their tree house,
We'll have to-
whatever.
the tree houses.
See,
Yeah,
Mansion Hill,
Used to go straight.
it used to come down here, it came out right here.
yeah, right in front of Edmond's house.
And he had it changed later.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
Because this was safer.
No, evidently the street light, the lights were going into
Absolutely.
his living room.
Oh, yes, I remember.
That,
well,
that,
that
I've heard
whole
that from
shit
two
show.
old timers told me that fact, that he did not like the lights coming down, so they moved it over.
He did not like it when the power company made a totem pole out of his pine tree on the front yard. Remember that? When
I
they-
didn't like it when they did that to mine either. I made them come back and take the rest of it down.
So did
Oh,
Edmond. Poor guy.
All right.
All right, so we
Then I
digress.
found
Well, at least we know what we got
Memorial
now,
tree.
right?
Right.
Yes, when are we meeting, now the deadline for.
So we
RFPs
talked, we
correct?
talked about that right before you got in, so.
Sorry, I apologize.
It's okay. So what we think, because we got more than what we expected to get, it's taking us, a little bit longer to go through them. So
Sure.
we think that maybe if we schedule another meeting in the next couple of weeks to then go over a short list,
Yeah.
maybe get the 8 to a 3. I
Great.
can email everyone the RFPs so people
Fantastic.
can look at them at their own leisure. And then Ray, Corber, the chiefs, myself, and anyone who wants to participate we can try to at least come down with a narrow list, and then we'll go through them as a committee, I think, and then.
Yeah, if you get
maybe
it down to
start
3,
in-
then we can dissect it from there.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. And Ray's really pleased, in this construction climate, getting 8 companies that are potentially interested is,
Sure.
I think, a good thing. It's better than deciding between 2 that we don't really want.
And it was good news from the state of New Hampshire too, as far
Did
as.
everybody see the letter from the state of New Hampshire?
Yeah, so this is in reference, it's in your packet. I applied for a $1 million grant for this project through the federal government, through their Emergency Operations Center grant. Congresswoman Custer was looking for appropriation requests, so I threw our project in as just to get a feel for it, and then they asked us for more information. And now I think they're going to consider it in part of the Senate appropriations. So we don't know anything definite yet, but the state of New Hampshire, the Department of Safety reviewed our application and they signed a letter of support for us. So I think that's a good sign that
Yeah.
we have backing from
Yeah, no,
them.
this is a
So
really
what
good
can that
sign.
$1 million be used for?
So essentially, it would be construction, it could be used for design and construction of a emergency operations center. So what I didn't give any specifics as of yet as to what we'll be purchasing with that.
Correct.
But essentially, I explained that we would be, cohabitating or centralizing our emergency services, the police and fire and the dispatch center into one building. And I gave them kind of, the basic, what we were looking for, with training rooms and sleeping quarters and, that kind of stuff. Without any specifics as of yet.
Okay, and is the grant maxed out at $1 million?
No, it could go up to 3.
How do we figure that out?
Once we have a design.
I think we need to have kind of soft figures.
Okay.
The project went from anywhere from 25,000 to 3 million, so I put us in as 1 million I didn't want to overshoot us, not knowing, because there's also a match component to it. So the town would have to match 20%. So, that would be $200,000 on the town's end. So I didn't want to
And at 3 million,
overextend
it's
us.
only $600,000.
be 600,000. So I threw it in as the million because I thought that was a
Can
kind of
those
middle
match
ground.
funds be grant funded?
I don't know.
Sometimes they can.
Sometimes they can, right. So we'll see, wait and see on that. It won't be until 23, wouldn't be, it's for a 23 appropriation, so we wouldn't be awarded the money until after
Right,
the
right,
fall.
right.
So
But that'd be cool though. We got a $3 million
if we got, you know,
grant and then get another $600,000 grant to cover the match.
yeah, I mean, I think a million, even $1 million starting point is a good starting
Absolutely.
point. Even a $500,000 starting point is a.
Any start is a good start.
Any start is a good
Yes.
start. So we'll see what happens.
Great.
And this letter has nothing to do with anything with the on-ramp too, because we gotta start planning, thinking about that, because that's gonna be 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think that I did talk to DOT, just briefly, and I think before they're gonna say yes or no on anything, they wanna see what it looks
They
like.
wanna
Yeah, see what it's exactly, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, initial conversations are great, but they're not gonna move it up the line or even consider it, I think, until they see a design on paper and how it
Makes
goes
sense.
into the interstate, so.
Just put a bug in the area, that's, I just.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not, they're not
And when-
blindsided.
No, yeah,
When we do have this building designed, the on-ramp should be designed into it as well, whether we have approval or not, so that we can always.
can you continue
Because
to
even if
try?
they say, no, absolutely not, no way, well, in 5 years, we can try again.
Right.
And we'll have the design.
I was thinking like 5 minutes.
Okay, that too. But I think it should definitely be designed with that in mind.
Yeah.
No question.
Great.
Agreed.
Good
Great.
stuff. I'm glad we got 8.
So I think the best thing for us to do is, instead of looking at all the RFQs here today, is actually bring them home and do some homework. You guys, do you have your computer? Can you look, you guys get together and look at them together?
I did email you.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking
But
just
he
the
does.
3 after they,
He does,
after they
Oh, he
narrow
does?
down,
he
right?
just
Yeah.
doesn't use it.
You all look at them.
Yeah, but you just don't bother with them, is what I'm saying. Not that you-
We look at them electronically and then kind of bring it down to whatever number we find desirable. And go from there.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see, I've done a brief kind of perusing of each one. I haven't gone through it page by page yet. But I think you're gonna see right off the bat, there are some firms that might be, not necessarily local and are kind of dealing on another level, and they're great, but again, like I said earlier, I think we have to understand our audience and we have to understand what's something that's feasible for the town of Lincoln to approve, and we have to kind of not think we're gonna build the Taj Mahal, and be realistic in our ask and hopefully in what we can get approved at town meeting.
Now, can we have those available? So if somebody wants to come in as one of the members and just sit here for 2 hours and look at them?
Absolutely.
Okay. 'Cause I think that's what I made.
Yeah, I got a couple
I have a
different,
lot easier looking at one of those and looking at electronic
Me
file.
sure,
too, me too.
Yep.
I hate.
they're available in my office at any time.
Once you've got it narrowed down to the 3 that you are all comfortable with, you and Ray and chiefs and whatnot, then I'll take those 3 electronically.
Okay.
I don't need to see all of them. You can I'll let you do the dirty work. When you've got it narrowed down, I'll take the 3 electronically. Thank you.
All right, is there any other old business?
Would anybody mind though, if you sent those to my computer? Whether I send them to her or my daughter comes up, she has her master's in architecture. Her future husband has his master's in engineering.
It's a structure.
Have them just go through it and give their opinion.
Sure, why not?
It's a great resource.
Yeah.
That's an excellent resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do that.
It might be easier to, if you're going down there,
I could
to
take.
print it off your
Oh, I
computer.
can bring my
take it down.
computer down.
Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that too.
Or you can just forward them the link,
Yep,
Dropbox link, and then they can just look at it at their leisure before you get there or whatever.
right.
Right, so maybe, 3 weeks should be a good time for another?
Yeah, I think so. My plan is to work on this next week, and I think everyone else's kind of plan is to start chipping away, doing 1 or 2, a day. So I think, yeah, give us a couple week turnaround and we'll be able to go.
Fantastic.
Any old business? any public participation? Is there anybody online or no? Can we make a date for the next meeting then?
Let's do it.
How long did you want? Couple weeks?
Yeah, I think if we wanted to schedule something, maybe the week of like May 23rd, that gives us 2 full weeks to go through it and then,
Can we do it the week after?
sure.
I'm going to Canada.
Oh, geez.
Zoom in.
Oh, yeah, we can do that week of the first, Memorial Day. We're not here on Monday because it's Memorial Day, but we'll be here for the rest of the week.
I can't do Tuesday. I mean, I'm sorry,
I can't do Thursday.
Thursday.
I can do
I can't do
Tuesday.
Thursday.
I can do Tuesday or Friday. That's
Tammy
it for
will be
me.
here
Can we do the
Tuesday night.
31st?
She just said she can't do Tuesday.
Oh, you can't do.
Oh, the 31st I can do. I corrected myself. June 2nd, I cannot.
Thursday, you can't do. That's the
Yeah.
school concert.
Oh, shoot.
Is the 31st,
Tuesday, the 31st, 4 PM here.
everybody? Is that good time?
And, okay, it's set in stone because I have it on my calendar.
Okay, so our next meeting will be the 31st of May at 4 PM, 1600 hours. And by then we'll have it down to maybe 3 or 4, Karina,
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
and we'll bring it to the committee.
Yep, and then we'll go through them, and then I think the next step would be then to start like a, kind of a interview process with the firms.
Yep.
And then, I think the end goal after, so we narrow it down to the 3 or 4, we do kind of casual interviews with those firms. And then the committee will make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on which firm to contract with, is kind of how I see the chain of events happening. And then go from there. I think we want to get someone on board in the month of June. Because if
Yep.
we want soft cost and designs for town meeting next year, or for grant funding this fall,
Grant writing, yeah, that's huge.
I think we need something in,
I don't want to take
by the
any, I
fall.
don't want to take anything to town meeting unless we've got substantial grants to take with it.
Sure.
So how's that going?
We can't write any grants until we have
Right.
figures.
I have reached out to Caitlin Robinson. She works for NCIC, which is the Northern Communities Investment Corp. She's a grant writer for them. She didn't really give me the news I want to hear, unfortunately. She said it would be easier for us to find a grant to renovate this building than it would be to construct a new building. She said we could probably find grants to fund portions of it, to do certain air filtration systems or something along those lines, but she says finding a grant that's gonna give us $5 million to do the project as a whole is gonna be difficult. But we can piecemeal them together, or we can, do our best. So I know that Chief was gonna also
Greg Davis.
look into Greg Bavis, and
Yeah.
see, because I know that he does.
See, cursory research that I did before town meeting this year and, like over the winter and whatnot. We were already on the list for some USDA grants. We're already there. We just didn't apply for them because we have a project to apply for. And it was clearly on there for construction of police, fire, EMS, safety, whatnots. Up to 18 million was on there. And Lincoln, New Hampshire was already listed. So I don't know why she would say that there aren't.
Well, there was, Greg Davis told me that there was a bill for $1 trillion to fund grants through the USDA, but he said it was pretty much dead because there wasn't support for either the Democrats or Republicans in it, so it really didn't gain any support. And maybe that was a precursor, what you saw was a precursor, if that
Could
went
be.
through and got approved, I don't know. But,
And I do also know that there's infrastructure funding coming in through the state,
Yes.
and that they are creating
Saw that too,
specific
yeah.
programs for things, and I know that the governor has, had a committee of people who were kind of, suggesting programs that he could, create, and one of them was, police and fire infrastructure. So, I mean, if that does come to fruition, that could be a great avenue for us to go down. But I think realistically, we're gonna be piecemealing grants together, which is okay, rather than finding one that encompasses everything.
So Greg Davis did tell me though that once we get a number, to reach out to the rep that does this area for the USDA and present it to him so that they can kind of do a cursory look, and they'll put it in as when they do get funding, they'll take that and set it aside, and then we'd be notified that we're in the grant process. And you know, the next time they get funding, we'll already kind of be
Our
in the
project will
queue.
be in the queue, right?
Right. Because
Now-
without it,
Right,
with-
right.
you know,
Is there any possibility we could incorporate a state agency to have an office there or something?
I mean, that's.
Like maybe the fire marshal could have an office, the state police could have like an office there.
That's
and
up
that-
to you guys. I think
I
that's
mean,
up
is
to
that,
us, you
is
know?
there a way we
That
could?
may open us up to more funding.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you know, we offer them, hey, you know, we'd like to have you guys have like, say, police office here. So,
An office with a private entrance and
yeah, and,
access to the rest of the building if they
because
need
I
it.
don't think the only other one's Twin Mountain, am I correct? It's Twin Mountain,
Yeah, it's a
True
bears.
Beth,
Yeah,
yeah.
True Beth.
right, but nothing. What's the next one, south?
Concord,
G. right?
Concord,
D,
but that's over,
yeah,
so it'd be Concord.
So-
In the
yeah,
93
it would
corridor.
be.
So geographically, what a great before the notch,
Middle ground.
middle ground, direct access.
That's not a bad idea.
And then even the fire marshal, maybe you offer the fire marshal an office for one of his officers in the North
Satellite
Country,
office.
Satellite office.
a satellite office, and
It
maybe
wouldn't take up a whole bunch of space either,
an office.
with
And
a
maybe-
secured separate entrance and yeah.
Bring the state in a little bit. You know,
I'm sure Ron Anstey would appreciate being housed here instead of traveling every day to do inspections.
yeah. Yeah, because when I went to North Conway, the fire marshal had an office up there.
Mhm.
So maybe the two chiefs can reach out to their respective agencies and see if anybody's even interested in that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
we've
talk to them
always-
too.
They've always been able to come in and use whatever they. want.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right, but now they actually have an office if they had to do
Their
certain
own
work.
space with
I mean-
access to your booking and
Oh, yeah, of
cells
course,
and whatever
of course.
I mean-
stuff, right?
Maybe the best thing to do is we invite the commissioner up here and ask him for an afternoon.
Well, he is in support of our grant on that,
Yeah, I saw that.
Commissioner Wynn.
Wait, yeah.
And ask, actually.
I don't think we
ask-
need that yet. Just get an idea if they're interested.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be the one to say
Incorporate
yes.
Into the design.
Yeah, I just think we should, when we are designing things, just
Yeah,
keep some open-ended office space.
Right,
Doesn't need to be a lot.
no,
and then when we get down to the nitty gritty, if they're interested in it, they can come and say, okay, this is great, but I need this here and that there. Whatever. Especially if we can get some more funding that way.
no, we're gonna need it.
We're gonna need it, yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna need it. We told them what, 87%, 85%,
27.
85.
No, I'd like to put at least 80 and 90% be grant funded. That's my, I mean, ultimately 100% would be great. But I won't bring anything to the town. I personally will not bring anything to town meeting that's not mostly grant funded. If we can't get this grant funded, then I think it's dead in the water anyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're talking 5 million. I think that's probably kind of a low.
Well,
figure.
there was, in one of these RFQs, there is some examples and some price tags of those examples, and one of, and again, they vary from very nice and very expensive. I'm not gonna say very nice and very expensive to a less expensive option. And they hover in the $5, $7, $8 million range.
Yeah, now, one of my questions is, when you're pricing out a police station and a fire station, is it broken up by the square footage price per each different? Because when you're building a fire station, you're building apparatus bays, you're basically, it's a concrete slab and a roof. It's not a build out.
Right.
There's nothing there. When you're building out the police station, it's a build out, but then again, it's gotta be bulletproof, certain parts of it, it's gotta be soundproof, certain parts of it.
Right.
Now, a fire station could just be a regular,
Steel kind of.
could just be a regular sheet rock and steel studs.
Right.
So we're not, I mean,
Well, I think that's something that we need to speak with to the engineering firm that we select. I think I think a good approach would also be to maybe look at it not only as a project as a whole, but also maybe as a phased approach where if we could get funding for a portion of it to construct a portion of it, and then the next phase is something, I think that's something that we need to talk to these firms about, let's have the big picture and what that would cost, but if we were to break it down in another option where we did it in a phased approach, what would that look like? I think
Yeah.
that's all stuff that we need to talk to. And that's maybe something that could be an interview question when we get down to the three, what is your outlook on a phased approach? Can you break it down between the PD and the fire and what that would look like?
Totally different construction,
Yeah,
totally different.
well, and that's why it also kind of makes sense to kind of break it into two where we could see what the individual costs are for each and make a reasonable decision on how to move forward.
When I went to Twin Mountain, totally, it was a police fire. Have you guys been to Twin Mountain? You ever seen it?
I've driven by it, but I've never
Yeah.
been inside.
It's a police fire combo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in one of these.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I've already, I've reached out to that chief and I'm like, all right, you're freshly into this new building. Would you have done anything different? He said, absolutely. So I want to know what those things are.
Right.
I met with them.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's the first question I asked when I met the chief and the assistant chief in North Conway. What would you have done different?
Mhm.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
They told me right off the bat.
Yeah.
And when I went to Laconia and they renovated their firehouse, the worst thing they ever did was stay in their firehouse. It cost them more money to renovate it, they said, than they should have just built a brand new
absolutely.
firehouse.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the aggravation, the time, the constraints, it was,
Well, and I know that, Bristol just passed building a public safety facility.
yeah, I just talked to Ben.
Yeah, and they, when they originally had their designs and their original quotes, it was, 3.5 million. And then with COVID in the world and the way construction is right now, they just had to go back to town meeting and take out a bond for 5.7. Because it went up, 2.2 million in 2 years.
Yep, that's what happened.
Same thing, same project, but just the way of the world right now, so.
Yeah.
And it's not going back down either, so like if we're gonna
Right.
seize the moment, we gotta seize it.
Has anybody looked at Zillow lately?
I mean,
You look at home prices, a home that was $1 million last year is now $2 million
Yeah.
this year.
mhm,
I mean, it's almost double.
Mhm.
So you gotta be really careful when you do housing estimates or construction
Right.
estimates. That's need to be
Right.
way off.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Did the Fed just raise the interest rate too? Are we gonna
The
try to
interest
control
rates
that
are going up
inflation?
on top of it.
Yeah.
right. And again, like I said, I don't think we're gonna see it go back down in a relatively short time frame. So if we're gonna do it, we might as well try to do it. I don't think that should stop us. I don't think construction
Right.
costs or the way the world is should stop us.
Is there anything else? Any other input from anybody? All right, so we'll have, those will be
Yes, so I'll,
viewable.
I'll email, probably not tonight, but tomorrow morning when I come in, I will email everyone the link to access them all. And
Yep.
go from there.
Yeah, and I may come in myself, just sit here some
Yeah,
afternoon, look at them
anytime
all.
you want to. I got a couple different copies, so.
Yeah, and we'll meet on the 31st, and I know Paul will be here. He'll be back from Aruba. He's been there for like a month.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I feel bad for
I
him.
mean, no kidding.
I know, he sent me a picture today. So.
Oh, I was gonna say, he was here on Monday for the selectmen's meeting, so he must have just.
No, the
left.
other ball.
Oh, the other Paul, I thought you meant voting. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Paul that- That's the Paul that usually comes in and.
We have a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
seconded. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank